morning, y'all. How you doing? We are on the Insta360 Go Ultra with the 1/4 G mist from Freewell. Honestly, I have not taken this filter off since I got it. It is a little bit strong in certain situations, but for the most part, I think it just makes the footage look more like how I want it to look, especially when I apply the dehancer grade and all that stuff. But today's video, I don't really want to talk about the Insta360 Go Ultra in the same capacity. So the DJI Osmo Nano just came out, and I have one arriving today as we're speaking. It could already be here by the time you're watching this. And I'm going to obviously make a bunch of videos on the Nano. I will switch from using the Go Ultra for a little bit and using the Nano, but I also want to give some kind of like pretext to all this. I am at this point kind of pigeonholed as a small camera YouTuber. I'm okay with that. I love these cameras, but the reason why I got back into YouTube was to just straight vlog. And I'd be lying if I told you that the small camera YouTube niche, or whatever you want to call it, has been like pretty good for my channel. Like, I've experienced the most growth I've ever experienced on YouTube. I'm having fun doing it, and I'm able to incorporate it into normal vlogs. So at this point, it's a good working kind of business relationship. Like, it's all working out. But that being said, like, I will use a camera, love it, switch to a different camera, and end up loving that one too. And I don't want you to think it discredits the one that I was using before or things like that, because there's always going to be a new camera. There's always going to be something that's going to grab clicks. And at this point, with how many cameras that I own, it makes sense to try them, compare them, and I feel like I have a valid opinion from using all these cameras. I gotta drop off a check. Just give me a second. So on that note, if I was just not human and didn't care about views at all and just wanted to kind of just talk to a camera on a daily basis and not care at all about what the result was, I think I would be super happy with just having the Insta360 Go Ultra. The reason why I would choose this one over the other ones is just straight up versatility, form factor, and like the image is good enough, the audio is excellent. It's got everything that I need on a daily basis. But I can't ignore that the Osmo Nano has the D-Log and the 10-bit in a similar type of camera. Now that I'm very skeptical about a few things already on the Osmo Nano, but I'm also excited to try some of the things that I'm excited about. So, for instance, one change already is that they've made it the same mount as the rest of their action lineup. That is fantastic, because the action lineup hasn't changed, I believe, since maybe the Action 1. It might have been the 2. I'm not sure which one it was, but every mount from the Action 2 works on all of the other cameras. I actually think the Action 2 had the best mount because it was like a metal and magnetic, which was pretty cool. So the nerd part of me is super excited to check it out. But I want to remind everyone that the camera that you have is not as important as what you're creating with it. And I can say this because from my channel before, when I was using $10,000, $15,000 worth of gear to make daily vlogs, no one really cared. And I'm not saying that you can't do good things with that, but when you start to strip it away and you start to really focus on the story, how you're getting the shots, everything being used to propel the story forward, it takes the emphasis off the gear and more on the ability to get the shot itself. And I don't care if you're using a GoPro Hero 8, if you're using a old Sony camera or whatever it is, as long as you know how to use it and tell your story, you're going to get the same result. And I'm completely aware that this might come off as a little bit hypocritical, but we have to realize here that context matters. And the context here is that, like, my through line through everything that I'm doing on this channel has been frictionless creation, and talking about smaller cameras and why smaller cameras enable you to make bigger things. This is a very important thing to note, because if you're not talking about cameras, or if you have a different thing that you're doing with the cameras, then you're not really going to be expected to review a bunch of different cameras, or in certain cases even have an opinion on the subject. So does that kind of make sense, like what I'm saying? My through line through everything is always going to be through the lens of using these cameras in different environments and seeing what they're capable of producing, not necessarily the specs of the camera, etc. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what makes sense about my channel. So when I post a video tomorrow or the next day of a vlog using the DJI Osmo Nano, what's going to happen is I'll talk about some of the specs and some of the things as we go through that, but it'll mostly be me doing my normal day, but using that camera and kind of giving you the pain points that I came across during using it. It won't necessarily be about, oh my gosh, this makes everything so much better. It'll be how much easier or cooler was it using this to capture my normal day as opposed to this. Does that make sense? Like, are you following what I'm saying? I hope it makes sense. And the reason why I think you'll be able to get value from it is because of the consistency over time, talking about similar subjects, using them in a way, because you already know kind of what my daily route looks like at this point, how I use every camera. So even if you don't use the camera in the same way that I am, you know consistently how I'm using it, so you can apply that to your situation. Where I might not be a professional color grader, you can see how I make the image look and make a pretty solid judgment if you're going to be able to get the latitude that you need for what you're trying to do. So all of this to say, there's a storm coming. It is September, October, like they call it Techtober for a reason. That's because every single camera company is going to be releasing their new cameras because this is the time to do it. They release it now, the hype gets built up, a lot of people jump on it right away, a lot of people wait till Christmas, tax season is ending, they need to blow money. It makes sense, so don't fall for the hype immediately. Like, just take your time. Like, we've already seen from August, like how many cameras have come out. We had the Osmo 360, we had the Insta360 Go Ultra, the Nano, the Action 6 is on the horizon, GoPro Max 2. Like, there is no shortage of new tech coming out. So obviously I'm gonna do my best to try and give you the most level-headed opinion on these cameras as fast as possible. It's not that I have to, I'm just giving you guys a little bit of a peek behind the curtain for some of you who might not fully understand what's going on in the background, for me anyway. But there is the fun aspect and there is the business aspect, and I want to merge both because I love doing this, but I can't pretend to ignore that it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of valuable, precious time where I could be doing something else. I choose to be doing this, but I'm actually trying to best balance the business aspect and the fun aspect. So I hope you got something out of this video. I hope it gives you a little bit of an insight into just what's going on in my head. Maybe you can give me a little bit of insight into what that looks like from the other side. But I think that we can all agree, everyone needs to slow down a little bit. A lot of money is being put into marketing and things to get you to buy, and we just don't have the money that we used to have. Like, I mean, at least in my case, I don't. I used to be able to spend a lot more money. It seems like I can't spend any money these days. So thank you for watching. I will see you hopefully tomorrow with the Osmo Nano. Have a great day. Love you all. Peace.